Children, in this video we will discuss what are the limitations of nervous system, what are the limitations of nerve impulses, or why we need another system along with that nervous system, that is the chemical coordinating system, that is hormonal system. Why we need it when we already have a well-defined system that is known as nervous system? The answer of that question would be, the limitations of nervous system would be, nerve impulses would be, the first one is, nerve impulses are not in contact with each and every cell. The nerve impulses which are passed through a nervous system are not in the direct contact of each and every cell, but whereas the chemical coordination, that is the hormones, they are in the contact of each and every cell, as they pass on through blood, and blood is in the contact of each and every cell. So directly or indirectly they are in the direct contact of each and every cell, whereas nerve impulses are not in contact with each and every cell of the body. Second, short duration. The impact of nerve impulse is not of a very long duration. This impact is of only a very few, microseconds, or you can say seconds. That is of a very short duration, whereas the impact of chemical coordination will remain for a longer period of time, as those hormones will remain in the blood. So the impact of nerve impulse is for a very short duration. Third one is, the third limitation of the nervous system is that nervous system or nerve impulses are not continuous. They occur in the gaps. So these are certain limitations of the nervous system as compared to the chemical coordination. Now we will discuss homeostasis and the feedback mechanism. This is the last topic of your chapter, control and coordination. The first is homeostasis. What is homeostasis? To maintain the internal environment or internal conditions constant in the form of favorable features, that is known as homeostasis. To maintain the favorable conditions in the internal environment of the body of an organism is known as homeostasis. And feedback mechanism plays a very important role in maintaining that homeostasis. Now, the question is, what is feedback mechanism? It is a regulatory mechanism or regulatory system that inhibits, that means stops, or initiates or start the certain amount of a hormone. That regulatory system is known as feedback mechanism. It is a regulatory system which it turns control the initiation or the stoppage of a particular hormone at a particular level of it. That mechanism is known as a feedback mechanism. To understand this feedback mechanism, we must have to go through an example. And that example is, we are taking the example of blood thyroxine. The thyroxine hormone is released by thyroid gland, and amount of thyroxine is present in the blood. That thyroxine will goes to the other parts of the body and controls the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats and proteins, thus controls the BMR, that is basal metabolic rate. If its secretion is less, if this blood thyroxine level is less in blood and we require this hormone, then it gives the signal to hypothalamus. These signals are transmitted by the help of nervous system. Then hypothalamus gives the signal to pituitary gland, to the anterior lobe of the pituitary, for release of the hormone, that is thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH stands for thyroid stimulating hormone, the hormone which stimulates the thyroid. TSHR stands for thyroid stimulating hormone, releasing hormone. As I explained to you in the previous video, that hypothalamus releases two kinds of hormones, releasing hormone, that is RH or IH. RH initiates the secretion, and IH, that is inhibitory hormone, stops the secretion. So releasing hormone starts the secretion of TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, which is released by anterior lobe of the pituitary. This hormone, by the help of blood, will goes to thyroid gland, which is present in the neck region, and thus thyroid gland release thyroxine, and the blood thyroxine is increased. The amount of blood thyroxine is increased, due to which what happens? The metabolism of carbohydrates, fats and proteins starts. But if this metabolism completes, that means the level of thyroxine in blood is high. At the high level of thyroxine, the signal will send to hypothalamus to stop its secretion. Then it releases TSH-IH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone, inhibitory hormone, which inhibits its secretion. That means no TSH is released. No thyroid stimulating hormone means thyroid gland will not produce what? Thyroxine. And if thyroxine is not released in blood, then blood thyroxine level is reduced automatically. So thyroxine is controlling itself, बच्चे. अगर वो कम है तो अपने सिक्रेशन को इनिशिएट करवाएगा, और अगर वो ज्यादा हो गया, उसका काम पूरा हो गया, तो अपने सिक्रेशन को क्या करवा देगा? बंद. So that is what the feedback mechanism is. A hormone itself controlling its initiation or secretion, as well as it is controlling its inhibition. The other example of this feedback mechanism is also can be understood by the help of the feedback mechanism by the help of metabolites. Metabolite means the chemical substances which are produced during the metabolic reactions. And the example of that is the secretion of pancreas. It is a very simple example to understand. We eat food, bache, then glucose will automatically enter into our blood. That means the glucose level of our blood increases after our meals. In that case, pancreas release a certain hormone, that is insulin. And that insulin will absorb that glucose of blood, the excessive glucose of blood, and converts it into glycogen in the liver. अगर बच्चों ने मील खाई, मील के बाद ग्लूकोज का लेवल ब्लड में बढ़ गया, तो बच्चे क्या होगा? जो एक्स्ट्रा ग्लूकोज ब्लड में है उसे ग्लाइकोजन में कन्वर्ट कर दिया जाएगा. किसकी हेल्प से? इंसुलिन की हेल्प से, which are secreted by pancreas. And if we are undergoing starvation, हम बच्चे भूख लग रही है, हम बहुत देर से हमने कुछ खाया नहीं, हमें भूख लगने लगी, हमारी बॉडी की नीड बढ़ गई एनर्जी की, then that glycogen, that stored glycogen automatically converts into glucose by the help of glucagon. So that is also feedback mechanism. जब ब्लड में ग्लूकोज ज्यादा हुआ तो इंसुलिन ने उसको ग्लाइकोजन में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. जब ब्लड में ग्लूकोज कम हुआ तो ग्लाइकोजन को दोबारा से ग्लूकोज में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. किसने? ग्लूकागोन ने. So that is the feedback mechanism which is controlled by the concentration or amount of metabolites. So that is the end of your chapter, that is control and coordination.